Is it discrimination to cast Asian females only for the role of Mulan? Is it discrimination to hire only Hispanic actors to play the role of a Narco? Is it discrimination to hire non-white performers for the Broadway show Hamilton? Today, I will talk about how does the directors of the studio defend themselves when they cast by race. I will also share a case where Bruce Lee was rejected for the role of Caine in the TV show Kung Fu to demonstrate that this is a defense, not a mandate, which means it serves the directors the way they need. So first of all, can you hire by race? As we know, in certain circumstances, when you can prove the trait such as age, gender, that's necessary for the normal operation of the business, you can legally hire by these traits. Race is rarely used except in certain business, such as casting. It makes sense to select an Asian female for the role of Mulan in the casting. It makes sense to choose a Hispanic actor who speaks fluent Spanish to play the role of a Narco. And it makes sense to select actors with ethnically diverse background for the Broadway show Hamilton. Even the news claimed the hearing notice seeking non-white performers contain reverse racism and sparked a controversy for Hamilton. But in these cases, you can see the race was made a requirement in the selection process. So how do you use this trait, race, as a defense? First of all, in Title 7, remember we talked about BFOQ, where you can demonstrate these traits that's related to business. But it didn't specifically include race in its provisions. So in most business, it's nearly impossible to legally defend race as BFOQ in the hiring decisions. But in artistic context is an exception. Secondly, how about using the customer preference? Can you use customer preference as a legal argument? There has been a few attempts to argue that they want to use customer preference to justify BFOQ defense. For instance, Pan American and Southwest Airlines claimed that airplane passengers prefer to have only attractive female flight attendants to serve them. However, for both cases, the courts ruled that they can't justify the BFOQ defense because they can't prove the male attendants are unable to perform the primary function to serve the customer. So you theoretically cannot use the customer preference. However, a lot of directors in the film industries are trying to use that still. Third, you can actually use the First Amendment right to make your argument, because First Amendment rights protects the artistic expression in entertainment, television, and dramatic works. So here are some of the legal terms, but how about in reality? How do people handle it? For instance, in the Hamilton case, due to the public pressure, the show eventually opened the call to all actors. But does that mean that every actor has the same chance? No. Does the legal argument same as the reality? No. So in reality, to make it easy to hire non-whites for certain roles, they can simply move from public view into private hands. In this case, in the casting notice, they removed the word non-whites, so they can't be claimed as discrimination. but they just put this casting specifications in the selecting criteria, which they can add requirements such as accent, speech pattern, dialect, the requirement for a foreign language, which are actually closely related to race. And you also need to be aware that this BFOQ exceptions is a defense, it's not a mandate. So for filmmakers, they are not required to cast for authenticity. Instead, only when they desire, they actually have the freedom to do it. So there was a famous case related to Bruce Lee that I want to talk about. Some of you might know the TV show Kung Fu from the 70s, produced by Warner Brothers. The show featured a Chinese monk practicing martial arts in an American Old West setting. Bruce Lee auditioned for the part of Caine, the main character. But the studio was reluctant to hire a Chinese actor, and they had concerns with his accent. The studio ended up using a non-Chinese actor, David Carradine, who is the son of a famous actor who doesn't speak Chinese with little martial art experience. Lee could have established a strong discrimination case. First, Lee was a member of protected minority race, and second, he was objectively qualified for the role in terms of his superior martial arts talent, in terms of his ability to speak Chinese. And finally, the studio actually admitted that its decision to cast Carradine instead of Lee was based on race, quoting one of the unnamed executive. "You can't make a star out of a 5'6" Chinese actor." So there is still a gap between legal protection and reality. Share your thoughts below. Thank you.